much once again, the AIA Hong Kong chapter. Thank you, Faye, for the introduction. And thank you everyone for joining. The session of today, it's going to be roughly an hour, a bit more, also depending on questions. It's about the introduction of ArchiCAD as a BIM solution, especially focused on architects and especially focused on design. Okay, and how can BIM technology can be very useful as a design tool, not only as a production tool. Okay, so yeah, first an introduction about myself. I'm also an architect as a background. Okay, I got my master's degree in architecture back in Spain, where I'm from. And I've been also teaching in the Hong Kong University recently as an adjunct professor of computational design workshop for landscape. And I've been working before joining Graphisoft all my life as an architect, of course, trying to use BIM for the best for my projects and the projects of the teams where I've been working with. And I also started my own architecture firm, which is still working in Hong Kong. It's called Insign APD 8 years ago. And yeah, now my role in Graphisoft is basically support, apart from Hong Kong, Southeast Asia region, Eastern Southeast Asia region, on support our partners, our customers on best practices, technical knowledge, and best practices about how to use BIM for architecture projects. So the agenda is going to be first an introduction about BIM, and also about misconceptions, okay, and things that we all often tend to understand wrongly about this technology, and then the main advantages, the key points that are important for architects to embrace about BIM. So it's going to be 20 minutes, even probably shorter, and then we're going to do a hands-on exercise, which, I mean, the idea originally was to make it in person. So, it was supposed to be like done in a way that I could really follow up with you guys and see that everyone is doing the right steps. We're going to build a small model in this hands-on exercise, but being online, it's going to be a bit difficult for me to follow up on you. If you saw on the chat, I share a link, which is here, okay, to download a file, okay, which is this one. Okay, it's called Villa Patios. It's a small project, it's a very tiny house, and the idea is that we're gonna rebuild this tiny pavilion. Okay, again, I will probably make it shorter than 45 minutes because if you guys want to follow, okay, and build it at the same time, which is great, I please invite you to really ask questions and stop me anytime you encounter any issue. Okay, it's a very simple project, so again, it could take very little time, so it's very easy. I believe all of you have downloaded the ArchiCAD students version, which I share with the team of AIA to share with you, so everyone could download the ArchiCAD version. So please let me know if you're working well with the ArchiCAD students version. As you know, ArchiCAD for students is free. Okay, a license of 1 year is free if you download through myarchicad.com. Okay, let me just actually show you how you can. I believe you already done it, but if you go to myarchicad like this, okay, and you can find register and download for students here. So you register, you send your application will be approved, and then you can download ArchiCAD and start using it as an educational version, free for 1 year. Okay, so let's get started with the webinar itself. Let me close here. Okay, so a rough introduction, a very quick introduction about Graphisoft. It was founded in 1982, and the first version of ArchiCAD was in 1984, almost 40 years ago. So throughout these years, as you can imagine, our solution has been, improving and becoming more and more robust and more useful and flexible. It was probably the first BIM authoring tool available in the market. Okay, the first one of its kind, BIM tool as a BIM solution. Of course, it was not called BIM, but as a BIM solution to develop projects, to design. Okay, our solutions have been always available for Windows and Mac, and since 2007, Graphisoft became part of the Nemetschek Group, which just a few words about the Nemetschek Group is a group of brands that develop solutions for the construction industry that provide, again, for the different stages of the life cycle of a project, like design, build, or management and operation, aim to provide the best-in-class solution. And also the Nemetschek Group, aims to create good connectivity in between all these solutions, especially promoting OpenBIM, which you might be aware of it. It's OpenBIM is the set of open standards that connect all the BIM solutions in between themselves. So about our users, we have a lot of different users in Hong Kong. Here, most of the users are based in Hong Kong, some of them in Singapore and Japan. But our users go from small architecture firms or interior design firms, like one architect, one person team, okay, working by itself, to larger organizations like P&T Group, LWK and Partners, with hundreds of architects, and also to some of the largest construction companies in the world, like Takenaka or Kajima Corporation in Japan, and also government agencies like the Days of Hong Kong, the CAC, Lands Department, Hong Kong Housing Authority, Architecture Service Department. Some of our users that also use BIM both to develop projects, to manage, and to evaluate projects done by the industry. So this is our ecosystem of solutions. Okay, we have ArchiCAD, DDS-CAD as authoring tools. Okay, ArchiCAD is our main tool, and DDS-CAD was recently acquired. It's a tool to develop MEP systems. Okay, aircon, electrical, piping, and all that. Collaboration tool is BIM Cloud. It's the tool that allows us to collaborate with teams located in different offices, different countries, collaborate in the same project simultaneously. Okay, and then BIMX is the tool we use for sharing data. BIMX is a very simple, fun application you can download for free, and you can explore and navigate all the BIM data attached to the project. The most important thing is that ArchiCAD and our solutions in general integrate very well with all the other solutions available in the market. So we can import, export using IFC, like OpenBIM standards data with, from ArchiCAD to any other BIM application. We can also save as files like, from SketchUp, Rhinoceros to create libraries. It's really, really easy. We can share data with 3D Max, save CAD files, schedules in Excel, PDF, Word documents, collaborate with point clouds, a lot of render engines. Anyway, we integrate really, really well. The technology behind ArchiCAD to integrate with other solutions is really strong. And again, it makes the life of architect easier because we need to integrate with many other solutions. This is the latest version available this year, ArchiCAD 26. And just as a note, even if our majority of users are architects, ArchiCAD is a multidisciplinary solution that can also provide solution for engineers to do the structural models and the MEP models, as well for contractors to do all the disciplines for the building. As I was saying, BIM Cloud is the collaboration tool, which allows us to work together in the same project. We can have really big teams working in the same project, in the same elements, the same model, to work more efficiently, whether we're in the same office or in different countries. And BIMX allows us again to share data in a very intuitive, easy way, navigating with the tip of our fingers through the project and seeing all the data related to the 3D model. The way architects can use BIMX, as you can see in this example, is we have all the project information that got generated in smartphone or a tablet, and we can bring that information on site to do checkups, to do markups, to avoid having to carry all the papers and waste time to find the information that we need. Okay, it's very easy to access every corner of the building of our project when we use BIMX, and makes us very easy to follow construction site and to communicate with clients and other teams, and also to sell our ideas, to be able to show the values of our projects and the spaces we design. So what are the benefits for architects when it comes to BIM? Well, first of all, we need to understand the situation. Our industry is really inefficient when it comes to compare with other industries. Okay, the increase in efficiency of construction industry is very low compared to industries like manufacturing, for example, that has increased exponentially in the last 70 years. Also, when we compare with industries like agriculture, again, industries that have increased efficiency in many ways, that have implemented technology in great ways. Construction still, regardless the developments, is still really lagging behind. It's one of the most inefficient and the most polluting industries there are. Okay, so one of the reasons to use BIM is to improve the situation. The reason why this happens, because traditionally we always work with these three separate teams or separate production streams, which is we develop 3D models, familiarize probably with SketchUp, Rhinoceros. Okay, we model very quickly. These tools are fantastic to do work in 3D. But then we work, we do our documentation in 2D using CAD in general. Okay, and then we develop our project data also separately. The problem of this is that, you know, a project, the moment is a bit bigger than an apartment or a tiny house, there's a lot of information that needs to be updated every time there is one change. Okay, so every time there's one change, we need to open 3D models, CAD files, you know, schedules and things like that. So a lot of errors occur during this process. Okay, this is why we are very inefficient in the way we provide information for construction. There's a lot of problems in construction sites still, a lot of problems that need to be solved and require overcost and overtime, making everything delay, everything more expensive, everything more inefficient. The way a BIM automated process works is by doing a 3D model that has information. It's a smart model. Okay, we should talk more about like a virtual project. So we build our project in the computer first. And this model generates documentation, it generates project data, schedules and information for quantification and so on. So this is the efficient way to work, saving time and errors. I say save time because, as you may know, every time you talk to an architect that works with BIM or works in a company that has a BIM team, they say that work in certain BIM solutions is very slow, it's very cumbersome, and takes time. This happens when we don't have a proper understanding of BIM. Okay, when we cannot really make BIM save time for us, means that we don't really use it properly. So the way it works, we have a model, as I was saying, that can export documentation, whether it's for construction, for the approval of the authorities, and we have the benefits like collision detection, construction simulation, quantification, sustainable analysis, construction precision. We save time and cost, as I was saying, and we can have a smart operation for the future of the project, digital twins, again, for the operation of the building for many years to come. So the other problem about the way we use BIM technology, especially in architecture firms, but also in engineering firms, is that we work with 2D CAD and 3D CAD first, separately. Again, we do this wrong. Okay, we start working with separate source of information, which makes everything go slowly. And again, I've been working as an architect for many years, right? So every company I was working using this method, I could see the amount of time and resources and manpower we were spending. Okay, knowing that documentation was always carrying errors because it's impossible to coordinate, but you have to generate hundreds of drawings. It's very difficult to have everyone collaborating seamlessly without doing errors. But then we have the BIM team that usually has license of BIM software that start to rebuild everything that the design team has done, and they rebuild and they double the work. We repeat the work, we redo everything that we have done with errors, and we do it wrong. This is the problem of duplication. So we should stop working with BIM technology in this way. Okay, we stop duplicating, we should start using BIM from the beginning. And to do that, we need to use first the right BIM solution, a BIM solution that can allow us to do design. So when we do design, we architects really focus on the quality of our deliverables, quality of documentation, and the information that we generate, the graphic information is the first thing. We want to win competitions. These diagrams, for example, is for a landscape project, landscape and urban project that we won in my previous company. Okay, it was a very big project, and we won it. I believe also because of the the quality of the deliverables that we produce. Of course, the quality of the project and analysis and all the information that we generate, all the value of the intervention itself, of how to preserve the landscape, how to create city and public environments that relate with the natural surroundings. But again, it's about how we communicate with ideas. So these type of diagrams in the past, I will have to use a 3D model tool, then I don't know, Illustrator, Photoshop, CAD to add all this. This I can do it very easily in ArchiCAD, okay? And I can, again, go farther with my design. When we want to do challenging geometries, okay, when we want to do larger projects, residential projects, just develop our project slowly with more level of detail as the project evolves. So the project in 3D can explain every corner of the geometry of the building, right? We can very easily do axonometric view, add annotations, read information from the models, and we can generate very useful 3D documentation. Documentation in 2D is important, but a lot of documentation in 3D is much easier to understand. And then what I want from my model is to generate the documents that go for tender stage that eventually will be used also for construction. Okay, so I don't want to have teams that repeat this work and have to spend hours drafting. I want to build my project. I want the software to do this for me. Again, we want to use ArchiCAD for design. Okay, we don't want to use ArchiCAD as a BIM tool that somebody uses after the design has been done. That's where we can generate, certain geometries that can be, can be challenging. We have a lot of freedom to model in this solution. But again, modeling in ArchiCAD, the advantage is not that also that we can model, and we can do sections, elevations, and plans from these models very quickly, but we can extract data. Okay, we can extract surfaces of these different shells that we are generating, like the surface on the top, surface on the bottom. We can understand the length of the edges and the surface of the edges. Like this, we start to understand which can be the most expensive of these shells, of these roofs that we're modeling. Which one has the largest perimeter, which is going to use more material. Already this information that is very useful. And we don't need to generate this separately. ArchiCAD has this setup. We can set up the schedule, and every time we do changes, we'll automatically update. And then when it comes to very large projects, we also heard all the stories of BIM teams working in large projects like airports, that they have to split the models in several parts because the BIM software goes slow. Again, this is in particular with ArchiCAD is not the case because it's a very strong solution that can handle very large projects and handle very large documentation packages like this one, which is a project that at the end doesn't need more than 5 architects to be working on because they're just modeling the project, focusing on the design, and letting ArchiCAD to generate the documentation. Another of the reasons why ArchiCAD can handle large projects and large documentation packages because it's a multi-core solution. And what is a multi-core solution? Well, you would like to know that most of the BIM solutions in the market, probably if you're using any BIM solution right now, most likely it's going to be single core, which means that it's using only one core of your machine, which means it's going to go very slow and you're going to have to spend a lot of money having powerful machines. We all have been there. We all have heard stories about, oh, I need to handle my BIM solution a very powerful computer. The reason that ArchiCAD, this doesn't apply to ArchiCAD, ArchiCAD uses all the cores of the machines. So it runs much smoothly in machines that are not the latest and not the most powerful. And we don't need to invest so much money in hardware. Okay, so we can still work with large projects, documentation packages, and focus on design. Case studies like, for example, IDEA, which is an architecture firm in the Philippines. It's one of the top 50 most relevant architecture firms in the world. Okay, it's part of the World Architecture Firms 100 since 2019, and now is ranked at number 46. Okay, in 2005, they said no more CAD in the office. From now on, we'll only use ArchiCAD. Of course, it took a while, took a bit of effort, but after the struggle, they excel and they become really good. One question. I want to just make sure that you can hear the sound of the video. Could you hear the sound of the video? Can anybody write on the chat if the video had sound. Hello? Could the sound of the video be heard? Sorry, guys, can you hear the sound of the video? So just now, you mean that we can hear the video, the sound now? Is the sound available or not? But the sound of the video, can you hear that there's some music and some voice talking on the video? Is it possible to can you hear the voice of the architect speaking? Not my voice. I'm asking for the sound of the video, please. No video sound. Okay. So usually I can share this here, but of course. Anyway. Yeah, the video should have sound. I mean, I'm hearing the sound, but I don't know if you guys can hear it.
No, unfortunately.
Sorry?
Unfortunately, we cannot hear the sound. So when you share screen, when you share video, you have to share it with audio as well.
Okay, let me just 1 second, stop sharing. So when I share now, but we can select where to share the sound of the video. Usually there's here on the tab says more. Can we do something about it, or?
Do you have the video on YouTube or any other like somewhere that I can download and try to share it?
Yeah, maybe I think so, but I think I think let's not waste too much time on that. I mean, I will probably share the video with you guys. I think it's nice because it's the experience of this idea team talking about the journey and how overnight they decided to stop using CAD, how everyone went in panic and everyone was scared at the beginning, but they work it out. And of course, for a few months, they struggle a little bit to submit, the deadlines and everything. But very soon they start to see the light. And that's why they become one of the most important architecture firms in the planet. And then they also talk about the journey, how they start developing their own tools and how they start to use all sorts of BIM solutions in combination with other technologies to automate really documentations and save time. And they're really, really competitive in the sense that they really can work, do projects really fast, and that gives them a huge competitive edge. Anyway, it's a nice video. I will share the link with you guys. I think it's really interesting, the journey of, Giorgio Tolentino is the director of IDEA. I think he's a visionary. And again, they use ArchiCAD, but they use a lot of BIM solutions in combination. But they always thought that thanks to ArchiCAD, they started their journey to really become relevant architecture firm. So anyway, let's have a look to an example in real life. As I was saying, I'm just going to model very quickly this pavilion. So as I was saying, if somebody's following live, okay, just let me know, put a question on the chat, or if you have the chance to unmute yourself, okay, just talk and stop me. Okay, so this is the interface of ArchiCAD. Okay, so here we have a 3D window. Here we have some tabs where we can open floor plans, so we can open sections or elevations. Okay, and then here we have on the left side all the tools for design and tools for creating viewpoints, sections, elevations, and documentation, dimensions, and so on. And here on the right side, we have the project navigator, we have the project map for the plans, sections, elevations, and so on. We have this icon here that is the view map, which is just a clone of the first one. But all these, we can clone all these viewpoints and add them settings. So we can have a lot of them here, many more of them. So we can have them, same floor plans with different scales, different layer combinations, different graphics, different visualization methods. And then we have here the layout book, which is where we have all the drawings that we can generate. We can place views into these drawings. And then very easily, this drawing is going to a publisher. The publisher is a package that we just click one button and we start publishing documentation. We can even publish PDF, CAD, 3D models, IFC, all together. We just click one button and it will start the publishing all the information. So once we set that, this is the 3D model of ArchiCAD. Okay, so yeah, let's start working now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything that is here. Okay, in the pavilion. So first of all, I'm going to select these elements. I'm going just to delete them. We'll start them. So we start from scratch. Okay. So modeling in ArchiCAD in 3D is quite similar as modeling, for example, in SketchUp. Okay. Here we can select the tool we want, and every tool has a little arrow, like this one, that has a set of favorites. Okay, that we can work with. In this particular exercise, if I select the slab, already the settings are predefined, model the slab that I want. So I can just model a rectangular slab very easily. And as you can see, there is a blue dialog that shows the dimensions. So I can just include the dimensions, like 7.5 meters and 12 meters. Okay, and then the rectangle is modeled. So now I can just move this slab higher. Okay, can select, when I select the slab, I can click on one of these active points, okay, and I can move them in different directions. The spec palette will appear with different options, different quick options. But you can see that here in 3D, there is this blue, like a blue reference, blue line, blue axe that shows the set direction. So we can do snap the different stores. Okay, so we have here the store number 0, store number 1. Okay, you can see them, you can feel it because it's gonna do some certain snap. So I just want to move the slab here to the level 0. Okay, so it's in the correct position. And now I press escape. Okay, it's one with escape. I'm just going to select the wall tool. Okay, click on it. And again, with the same settings that are already predefined, I'm going to click in this edge of the slab, and now in this one, and now the last click, I'm going to do it again. So if I, every time I want to click in one corner, just to click with the mouse, and then I do the last click, and then to finish the wall, I do a click on the last spot that I click, and then the wall will be finished. Okay, and again, we are already building the 3D, but if we go to the floor plan, the 2D representation just started. Okay, this representation that is black, it's everything that is cut is black. It's a very nice way to represent projects in a very early stage. But here we have a lot of settings that we can control. Okay, we can access the settings many ways. There's here the graphic overrides. I can select, there is one that is selected here, building plans. I can select no overrides. And then every element will be shown in the real materials that is built of. Okay. And as you can see here, I have some section markers. So I can just select the two walls and the slab and just move them. So I can click in any of these corners. And in the peg palette, I select this button here. It says drag. Okay, so I just move it a little bit here. Okay, so when I cut with the sections, okay, looks correct. I can select the section, right button, and say open section with these settings, and the section will work. With the sections, we can visualize the model in different ways. We can visualize the model cutting the elements in black and white, or the projected elements with like a rendered style. Okay, we can do it also using another style. For example, this section here. If I open it, you'll see that the projection is black and white. So I can change this anytime. Okay. I go to this section, for example, here in the project navigator, and I do right click, go to the section settings. I can change very easily the visualization here of the uncut elements. So you can also make it look like render style, okay, or black and white or nothing, many different ways. So now I'm just going to model in 3D as well the curtain wall. Okay, for the curtain wall, I'm going to use not a straight wall, but I'm going to click here on the geometry method, and I'm going to select this option, which is like a polyline. Okay, so to see these options, you need to click and keep clicking for like half a second. Okay, just a little bit, and I will select that option. So I just want to start modeling here in this corner, go to this corner, and then this one. So I'm going to do this like this. One click, 2, 3, and again to finish, we click once more, and then the curtain wall is finished. Okay, we have gone a bit too far. We can always select here the edge. The peg palette. This little cross means move node. So we'll just move it back if we went a bit too far. And this is the curtain wall. The curtain wall, we can edit it by selecting it and click edit button. In the edit button, okay, there's a few options we can do. First of all, we have here a little menu where we can see, turn on and off certain things. I want to turn everything off. So I basically don't see anything on the curtain wall, but just turn on what it's called the skin grid. Okay, the grid is what defines the, it's the grid of the curtain wall, okay, the main dimensions and subdivisions. So if I select this grid, okay, this grid, I want to start from this side. Okay, actually, first I'm going to select both of them. Okay, and I'm going to change this number here to 0. So all the grid starts from the bottom. Okay, and now escape. Sorry, escape too many times. Go back in. Turn off everything. So skin grid, select this grid, and this grid I wanted to start from the other end. So it starts from this end. So in this corner, I have a full curtain wall panel each sides of the frame. Once I've done these changes, I click exit. And the curtain wall now is organized in a more clean way. Okay, the panel starts a full panel from the ground, okay, and upwards as well. And we have a full panel or a half panel on this corner. So now I'm going to create a roof. So with the roof tool, so usually with the roof, the first thing that we do is we model a triangle, which is the triangle that defines the inclination of the roof. This triangle, okay, I'm going to model first here in the larger side here. And I'm going to do it flat, okay? It's going to be a flat roof. So first this triangle, just going to do like this, flat. And then now I'm going to do another click to model the roof itself. Okay, from one corner to this wall, from this wall to this one. And there we go. This is the roof. Okay, as you can see, the elements join each other, nice and neat, so we don't see lines in between them. Though it's not that very important, but again, if I'm looking at my design, I really wanted to look clean from the beginning. So now I'm going to move this guy. I'm going to select, I select the roof and I click in one of the corners. Probably the tool that is selected on the bed palette is the one that modifies the edge of the roof, but I don't want to do that. Just going to click on this button and select this option that says drag. The bed palette is usually floating somewhere, so we just need to click here. Okay. And we're going to move it, and I'm going to input, for example, 2,400 meters. Now I'm going to click in this corner here. And one of the options of the bed palette for roofs is that I can change the roof pitch. So I'm just going to click here. And I'm going to move it up. Okay, so when I click here, if I select this option, I can just move it up and down. Okay, so let's leave it like this for a moment. Now, I know you remember, but this corner on the pavilion was not a straight angle. Okay, it's a curve. So I'm going to create a curve on this corner of the building, but I need to curve the walls, the roof, and the slab. So for that, I'm going to select the roof first. And pressing Shift, I'm going to select slab. So I have both selected. Okay, when I select a new element, I need to press Shift. So I press Shift, one wall, and another wall. So I have 4 elements, 3 different kinds. So I'm going to click in any of the corners of any of them. Okay, it can be this one. Okay, I'm going to select in the corner of the slab here. Okay. So this active point that you can see here, when I click on it, again, there are a few options on the bed palette. I'm going to select this one that says fillet. Okay, so when I click on fillet, it's going to ask me how much is the radius. I'm going to put 3 meters. And I'm going to press OK. So when I do that, because these elements were all matching in one point, they all have a fillet. They all have a curve. Okay. Again, create curve walls from the beginning is very easy. Okay, you can just then select them and make them incline. Okay, very easily. But yeah, now we're just gonna have them straight for this exercise. And what I'm going to do is to select again these 3 walls, and I want to cut them against the roof. So I'm going to do right click, connect, trim elements to roof shell. So I'm just gonna trim the elements. I'm gonna click on the roof, and then I need to select one side. The side I choose will be the side that remains, and the other side will be cut. So if I select, and I'm going to click with this side selected, the part above will be cut. And the good thing is, like, the building materials of the walls and the roofs, they merge following construction logic. So I will see that everything is smooth. But then when I do a section, For example, let me go to the section I opened. You can see how building materials are start to relating with each other. The way the buildings materials work in ArchiCAD is that these building materials have physical properties, okay, especially the priority. So the priority is what makes how the building materials interact with each other. Stronger materials will cut through weaker materials, okay? That's what you see that, you know, this block work here is breaking through all these layers by stopping against this layer here. Okay, so that the connections of the building materials are working in a smart way. So once we've done that, we just need to do the same with the, something similar with the curtain wall. We're gonna press edit again, and we're gonna hide all the elements, step the scheme grid, but this time the curtain wall cannot be cropped. It can be cropped automatically for roof, but it will lose some of the profiles. What we want to do is just change this, the inclination of this, how you say, grid. So when you select a grid, you can see that there is like a perimeter. Sorry, I press escape. I think fast again and edit this again. Select scheme grid. So this grid has this blue, in ArchiCAD, the blue lines are the reference lines of the elements. So in this sense, when we modify the reference line, it's like we're cropping the view of that element. So if I click in that spot and I just move this corner here down, okay, the blue line goes through here, and I press escape, you can see how the curtain wall, the edge of the curtain wall now starts there. Okay, now it's adapted to the new roof. Now let's go to the floor plan. Okay, this is how the drawing starts to look like. And we can even see section, the cut elements of the curtain wall. And now we're just going to model a few more walls. I'm going to select the wall tool, and I'm going to click in this little arrow. So all the tools in ArchiCAD have an arrow, okay, that opens the favorites. The favorites are those setups, so those settings that we can save. So we can have here, we have 4. But we can have hundreds of them, which is predefined elements like wall types, different walls that we're going to use in our projects. In this case, there is one partition dry insulation. I'm going to do double click. When I do double click on it, all the settings have changed. The layer is called interior wall. The structure of the wall type is called stud partition. And I'm going to model this one in 2D, okay? We can model in 2D, we can model in 3D, that's up to you. I'm going to model here, I'm going to start to model the wall somewhere here. And again, like modeling a polyline, I'm just going to model this wall, now go perpendicular to this wall here. Click, press escape, and here we go. You can see how the representation of this dry partition is really neat. It's really nice. So I'm going to select both walls and click here on this corner. And I'm going to do another curve here of, let's say, 1 meter. And now the 3D, when I go to the 3D model, I select these 3 walls, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click, say connect, trim elements to roof cell, and cut the elements against the roof. Now, if I turn off the roof, I turn off the layer, you can still see how this is built. And look at the building materials. This is very important because the way these operations are working between the building materials, it will give us very accurate quantities of the building materials, okay? So now what we can do is 2D plan or 3D, as we want, we can add a door. So the first door I'm going to add it here in this wall. To add a door, we just need to go over the wall and select the side, first the outside, and then do another click and the door will be open. And I'm going to select here this little arrow, as I was saying before. Door number 1, it's a bigger door. That's going to be the entrance door. I'll put it somewhere here. Okay, like this. You can open towards the inside. And this is done in 3D. Okay. And when we go to the section, this is how our section looks like. This is the wall. It's cut. This is the partition. Look at the partition, how the different materials stop in different order, depending on the priority. This insulation has higher priority, so it's breaking this 1, 2 layers, stopping against the insulation of the roof. Okay. But also, it goes a bit below, and it also breaks the finish floor, okay? Because these partitions stand on top of the screed, okay? And then the finished floor is placed after them. That also depends on the construction logic. You can give different priorities. If I change the priorities of these building materials, it will probably not behave in the same way. This will stop, and this wooden floor can also show you. When I select, if I select in ArchiCAD this slab, and I go to options, element attributes, building materials. In the list of building materials, those building materials selected in this element are highlighted in green. So for example, now they're organized by priority. If I select this timber floor, and I'm just going to change the strength instead of 2020, sorry, to 28 to 900, okay, super strong. I press OK. Look what happened automatically. Even if the wall starts here, this building material is stronger. It's going like this. So yeah, this is something we can do. We can change it back, up to you. But also look at the way, the curve and the representation of the shadows and everything. I think it's a quite nice render section, but we can always change it and just show it like, uniform pen, just black and white. Okay, it's up to us. We can just select to add the shadow here. For example, I can click here to add shadows. Put a color like this one, and I press OK. Okay, everything is in shade now in that section. This one has shadows as well. Okay, depends on the sun position and things like that. And then just putting objects. So just put a couple of objects. It's very easy. Select the object tool here. Okay, the toolbar, and I'm going to place one sofa here. For example, and one click. Here's in 2D. It's really good. Now I'm going to say mirror copy. Okay, I'm going to just like this, and I'm going to place now a table. Okay, very easy. And the 3D model, it will look like this. Okay, very simple. Also, I can go to view here and activate the cutting planes. View elements in 3D view way. So a few cutting planes will be active. It's going to this cutting plane you can see here in purple. It's like a purple line. It's here. I can do right click on it and say delete all cutting planes. And now in ArchiCAD, we have when the cutting planes are active on each of the sides of the window, we have a scissor symbol. That means that we can drag a cutting plane. Again, moving in 3D in ArchiCAD is not similar to a tool like Revit, for example, okay, that we cannot navigate in perspectives. It reminds me more like moving in SketchUp or Rhinoceros, okay? That's the point. It's a design tool, but with all the power of a BIM tool. Okay, can select all the elements. and cut the model to see, and then with command Y, I can cut and cut the model very easily. So again, that's how we model our simple panel. Then when I go to the list of drawings here on this last folder, we have a few folders, have the pavilion, and if I open this, we'll see that the pavilion has changed slightly because we start modeling, later. We see the door here, different openings, we have section here, some visualization issues that, okay, so visualization of the machine. Section number 3, something like this happened, you just need to click here, make it a bit bigger. Okay, very easy. Elevation, elevation. And if we cannot see the whole thing, it's because probably go to the floor plan, see this elevation, need to move it, or we need to move the pavilion. By the way, usually we don't move the project, we move architecture, we move the viewport. So that's it. That's how we model a pavilion. Very simple. Important. If you guys, as I was saying before, if you download from the link this file, okay, you want to following or you want to practice at home, there's also this schedule here. It's called component by elements that we can find here. Component by elements pavilion. So if I click here, this schedule contains these elements, which are elements from my project. Okay, elements of this tiny pavilion I just modeled. So if I select this one, for example, okay, or this one, there's this buttons here that allow me to select in floor plan or in 3D the element. If I select this in 3D, it will open the 3D model and it will select the wall I selected in the schedule. Okay, if I select this one, it will select those walls in the 3D model, particularly these 2 walls. Okay, now let me select the roof. The roof is this one, this one. But what I want to show you is about the quantities that are here. These walls, okay, they have different materials. Okay, so for example, the first one, let's do this. The first one here is airspace, concrete block, insulation. Okay, so we have here different values. We have the thickness, we have the volume, and we have the area. So this is important because, as you know, some materials like concrete, we count them by volume. Some materials like bricks, we count them by volume, but then we count them by units and pallets. Materials like insulation, we count them by surface. That's the projected area. So we have this 40 square meters, 40 something of each material, slightly different because as you show they're cropped in different ways in the top. But this we have the projected area of the net area. And these values are different. This is 43 and this is 40. Why is that? The reason for that is because this wall, isolated from the 3D, has a door. So the net area is the area without the door. So this is the value we want for the materials, the net, okay? The gross area is the area without counting the subtraction of it, which sometimes is necessary. For example, when we need to understand the area of a room, I don't know, for fire-rated reasons or anything like that, we still need to have the gross area. But if we don't need it, we can also remove it from the schedule. We just have the net, which is the total amount. Look, now it's 40 square meters. If on the 3D model, I put another door, you will see in the schedule, instead of 40, now it's 37. Okay, so anyway, the quantities update very quickly. Now, let's show all. We're in the house of the neighbor. Okay, so here it is again. This is a very simple example with some trees, some tree documentation. You can also explore the model here on the view map. You have 3D section here. This is more about this villa that we have here. Okay. That's really model, different views of different spaces, patio, living room, axonometric. Yeah, axonometrics are very nice to export documentation, not really to work with. It's much easier to work in perspective. So this is our pavilion. So that's it from this file, and I just want to show you here. I have another project. Okay, this is like we started that pavilion from the beginning. How do we start modeling a project? And this is how we finish a project. This is even sometimes not the scope of the architect, but directly the contractor. We just do a pre-construction model. Why is this a pre-construction model? Look at this curtain wall. It looks very thin, very simplified. It's because we have model view options that allow us to simplify models. Okay, these model view options that I have simplified this wall, but look at the documentation that is generated from this project. Okay, these views are 3 documents from the elements of this project. Okay, so this is all the level of detail that I have on these elements. Okay, let me show you how does it work. So if I select here and say open source view, this is an axonometric view. So we will open the 3D. And this is the axonometric view here. Okay, the curtain wall still doesn't appear totally, but we change the model view option, reconstruction. The curtain wall will show the full geometry. Okay, exactly. So this is just perspective, sorry. Yeah. So this is the curtain wall when we add all the detail that we need. Okay, to the cap, to the frame, profile. This is the roof. Here, every single part of the project, the element, the construction is modeled. Even the fixing brackets. Okay, if I open this in the 3D view, give it a second, and just show without insulation. These brackets, okay, they have model also, the bolts, these parts, the nuts, everything, okay, to fix the elements to the concrete. In this case, all this group of elements is one object. I could also model them separately if I want, but again, this is an exercise more for construction, but it shows you how in detail we can go. And when we go to documentation, this is the documentation of this project. We have floor plan, but as you can see, we have 3 bubbles for the details of every corner, which are this. This 2D information is completely generated from the model. It's not drafting here. All is coming from the elements of the project. Okay, we can open any of them. And we'll be able to select. Okay. This is a detail. So everything has been kind of exploded. So everything is 2D. Sorry for that. But if we open the source view, which is a plan. Here we go. This plan. Okay, just make the lines a bit thinner. Yes, this is one element. It's another element. This is the corner. Actually, this is the corner profile that has the break, the frames of the edge. Curtain wall is this one. And if we go, for example, to this document, here, look at all the axonometries we can do. I open this one, for example, or where is it? let's open what is the coding world. Let me open 1 second. Yeah, let's open this one. Yes. So these 3 documents are like a picture of the project. Okay. This guy here, I'll just show you some complex profile. Complex profile is a 2D representation of something that is going to be extruded. So it can be anything. And these fields are not 2D fields, but are building materials. Again, with quantities that will be taken in consideration once they're extruded in 3D. Okay. To be able even to do a right pricing. So yeah, that's as far as we can get. With ArchiCAD, or even more, yeah, just have the complete document built there. Okay, so going back to the presentation. Okay, and I think here we're just finishing. So I want to talk about the educational commitment we have at Graphisoft, because since I believe you guys are students. I mean, one of the work we do, and I have to do personally, is collaborate with the universities of Hong Kong and other countries in the region. And we work to enhance the BIM curriculum of students. So what we do in many universities is to contribute to the university curriculum, to have a BIM curriculum that, apart from learning our tools and our solutions, also learn a holistic approach of BIM, which is open BIM. Okay, this is another topic for another session. Which is open BIM is like the overall open format and open standards way of organizing information in the BIM environment, which is the way the industry is moving forward. And we provide support to universities through Graphisoft, through our partners, and many universities in the region. I mean, these are some logos of universities we work with in Taiwan, Korea, in China, in Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam. So we work with really many universities. We also work with HKU, as I was saying, and we want to develop the curriculum of BIM, so students can really learn tools that are useful for their career later on. So as a conclusion, understand the workflow and the values of this technology of BIM, about saving errors, saving time, especially saving time. Again, I'm saying this because, many users always say that BIM is not easy, doesn't save time, or it's not for architects or not for design. I think this is a wrong assumption, or maybe the architects should be choosing different BIM tools and choose more ArchiCAD and less of the tools, to be more flexible and more free when we work. ArchiCAD, as I was saying, is a very easy and flexible BIM solution for architects, where we can focus our time on design and automate the manual production, basically. So, and also the freedom of combining ArchiCAD with many other tools, which again can be a really wide variety of tools. So yeah, this helps us to really enrich our ecosystem of solutions. And then also, I want to call the attention of students, but I always show this when we do webinars in Hong Kong or any other country. This image comes very handy because BIM often is seen as a solution that we all say this sentence of we are too busy, sorry, today I'm very busy, sorry, I cannot change this, sorry, I cannot do that, or I don't have time to listen to this because I'm very busy. Of course, when you see this situation from a picture like this one, you feel okay. The people saying we are too busy, no thanks, we're too busy pushing our carrying stuff with square wheels. Of course, they look stupid, okay? But we all say this sentence. I say this sentence several times a day. When people say, "Hey, why don't you try this? I'm too busy. Why don't you do this in a different way? I'm too busy." We sometimes, the stop of every technology is always people resisting to try. So it's not only about BIM, but sometimes, we say, no, we use the BIM solution that everyone uses, but we are not happy with it. So let's be brave and take some time to do a change. I think it's important to understand who we want to be this picture in the future. Of course, we all be going to be busy at some point. Architects are busy all the time, and it's hard to change every day and improve every day. But we really need to be open to learn and learn new solutions to work in a more smart way. And again, also one of the conclusions I like to share with students is that, you know, as an architect, I love sketching. Sketches that we did, you know, in some of the projects I was working with my teams in the past. And I love sketching, I love architecture, I love design. And my point is that I like to go from the sketch to the virtual project. I don't want to start working with 3D tools that maybe waste my time. Okay, it's very easy to go from the sketch to BIM. To sketch to ArchiCAD is the easiest way, you know, to work and start developing our project. Sketching is the tool with we are more free. We can express our ideas. If we cannot express an idea in our paper, probably the computer cannot help us. So technology in this sense needs to help to develop our ideas. And then technology, again, needs to make it easier for us to bring them to reality. So the real conclusions, apart from ArchiCAD is great for this or BIM is great for that, is as architects, as I was saying, we have a great responsibility, which is change the way our industry is going. It's too inefficient, it's too unsustainable. We need to have time to think on design. That's why we need to choose technology that give us time, okay? We need to do mistakes. We need to think out of the box. We need to not be afraid to do mistakes, okay? We need to learn, we need to improve. And in this way, we'll be able to change the world and, you know, make this a better place for everyone. So thank you very much, guys. This is all from my side. So now, if it's any question, yes, please feel free to ask. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eugenio. Thank you for your presentation. So while people are thinking about, we do have an event questionnaire that we invite you to fill in to give us feedback on how we can make our AI event phone. So you would see it in the chat box. It's a Google form just with a few questions. So please fill it out. I don't think we have any questions from the audience as of this moment. I think people would have to try it out, click through it, and if they have questions, what can they do? Can they reach out to you, Eugene? Or is there like a open hotline?
Yes, of course. I mean, you can go to the website, but I can just, again, I'm never sure if what I'm sharing is only for the host or for everyone, but I can put here my email. Everyone can send me an email here. I think I only have the chance to write to the hosted panelists.
You can click on that and then choose everyone.
But I cannot see everyone. I see only Faye, AIA, and everyone. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I don't have that option. By the way, you can just write me an email, ask any question. Okay, I think that the most important thing. Also, another email I want to share. Sorry, another link is for those who still want to download ArchiCAD educational license. It's my ArchiCAD. Okay, myarchicad.com. Again, it's I mean, for professionals, it's free for 30 days. A trial version, but for students it's free for 1 year. Okay, so you can apply in this link. I think you need to copy paste again the link because I think only the hosts can see it. So yeah, they can, you know, students can try ArchiCAD. And I can also, if I can share my screen just 1 more minute. There is also, you know, the Graphisoft community. It's a nice portal where you can have a profile, and there's really a lot of topics on which we can ask questions. It's really, really a big forum. There's thousands of users here. creating posts all the time to ask questions about everything. And then we have also Graphisoft Learn. Where we have a lot of learning material, okay? And in this learning material, there's a lot of material that is for free directly. So everyone can start using ArchiCAD and start building tiny projects and work with them, okay? So here we can go to this, just copy this in the chat. Here, community, and here the Graphisoft Learn. Yeah, thank you for copying the link. So I cannot share, but as you can see, if you can see my screen now, some of these trainings, like for example, start modeling with ArchiCAD is free. Getting started with ArchiCAD is free. Getting started ArchiCAD for Revit users or CAD users. Start with a small project, conceptual design. Some of them have a bit of price, but again, they're very good, very easy, and everyone can learn and start using BIM for projects in university, and actually for their own projects in the professional life. So yeah, that's it. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Gino. And for our audience, you can refer to all the links that were just shared on the chat. If you want to revisit this video, it will be on YouTube very soon. So thank you, Gino, for today's seminar.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you everyone, and thank you for spending time on your Saturday. Have a great weekend.
Have a great day. Bye.